Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. I begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I meet today, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I would like to pay my respects to their elders, past and present. So this ArchiTalk is the first ArchiTalk in 2023, as we try to have a summer break and restart when semester starts again. This is the fourth year we are running ArchiTalk series, and we're very honored to have keynote speakers and participants from all around the world now. We're delighted to host Jeremy Robinson today for 30th ArchiTalk. Jeremy is currently an associate manager for Edge Architects. Jeremy Robinson is part of the team that manages the day-to-day operations and project requirements within an architectural and interior design office in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. He leads the procurement and execution of multiple projects within the commercial, residential, and F&B sector of the company. In the past, he has worked within the retail sector, government, hotel, and historical sectors. He has been working in the architecture and construction industry for over 25 years, both in New Zealand and for the last 16 years in the United Arab Emirates. Since moving to UAE in 2007, he has had the opportunity to work on some iconic projects within the Middle East, as well as work alongside some amazing international architectural and engineering companies. Due to the nature of the work, Jeremy has also had the opportunity to experience multi-roles within each company, starting his career as a draftsperson, then beam manager, design manager, site inspector, and regional director. Very interestingly and proudly, Jeremy is doing his Masters of Architecture with us through OUA as well, and we were just having a chat about his next submission. So just hand it over to him from Middle Earth to Middle East. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Nice introduction, and I'm very privileged to be able to speak. So this is quite exciting. So I think I'll just share my screen now, and I will crack into my presentation.
Thank you.
Can you see that? Has that come up, Professor?
Sorry, yes, Jeremy. Yes, Jeremy.
It's
yes.
come up, okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone for attending. As Professor says, my name's Jeremy Robinson, and I am working currently in Dubai as an associate manager for Edge Architects. But I guess the aim of my talk today is to share my personal, professional, and academic journey that has brought me to work in, I believe, one of the most fast-paced and extravagant cities in the world. I'd also like to provide just a bit more of a realistic perspective of what it's like working in Dubai. And then at the end, I'd just like to share some of the projects that I've been involved in and the experiences I have had working in the context of the Middle East. When Parissa first asked me to present to ArchiTalks, I was immediately interested because I remember during my time studying with Curtin, attending such talks, and so I jumped at the chance. But after that initial excitement, you know, when someone asks you that, I went directly to the ArchiTalk's website to see some of the past speakers, and then it really hit me that who am I? That was my question. Past speakers that had been on ArchiTalks had been professors, award winners, CEOs, and highly accomplished people. But I believe that through our academic journey in architecture, we're taught to have confidence in our abilities, and whether that's presenting our designs in front of our professors or even clients, we're taught to go beyond the confines of what we're comfortable with. I'm sure everyone has had an opportunity to do a design competition, and where we are up against more experienced practices, or we bid on projects where the other practice seems more capable, but there's some characteristic in our profession that gives us the ability to give it a go anyway. And so that's what I'm doing. I remember just some encouragement from Parissa as well, just to say that people would be interested in my journey. So here we are, from Middle Earth to Middle East. I guess I've got three objectives today that I just want to be able to come out of this talk. And for me, that is first to encourage those just beginning their journey. Secondly, those that are already on their journey professionally or academically to be excited that they're nearly at the end. And I guess third objective is to encourage those that are already in the profession to maybe take a risk and look at the Middle East as a place to learn and to grow in your profession. So although my journey started, as I say, 25 years ago, or about 1995, there's significant dates within my journey that I really feel that has propelled me on my path to where I am at the moment. And it's really exciting. You know, I've just found that architecture is what I should be doing. I remember hearing an interview with Norman Foster, and he was asked, what is some advice for students who want to study architecture? And he said, is architecture or art or sculpting or painting or drawing something that you really, really want to do? Is it something more than anything else in the world that you would do, and it fires you? And he says, if that's true, you've made the right choice, and you should absolutely go for it. Immerse yourself, saturate yourself, and live it every second of your day. And I think that really resonates with me now. I read architecture, I watch architecture, I study architecture, I listen to architecture, I drive an hour to work, and each day I've got a podcast on that talks about the business of architecture or detailing in architecture. And to the point that I bore my family with architecture. Classic example is we recently went on a trip to Berlin for Christmas, and each member of the family got an opportunity to choose an activity. And my wife, she chose the amazing Christmas markets that are in Germany. My eldest daughter, she chose art galleries because she's studying art in university at the moment. My youngest daughter chose the Illusion Museum and the Spy Museum, and that was all very fun. But what did I do? I dragged my family all over Berlin for an entire day in the cold, looking at architecture and looking at United Habitat by Le Corbusier. I was looking at Oscar Niemeyer's house, Walter Gropius's Bauhaus, all the stuff that I sort of heard about and learned while studying architecture. I felt like a 46-year-old kid in a candy shop, but my family, not so much. So, as I previously noted, my journey started in 1995, but I started studying for a diploma in architectural technology through a technical institute in New Zealand. To be completely honest, at the time, I had no idea what an architect was. I wasn't even thinking about architecture. I didn't even know what they did. All I remember thinking is that they must be very good at maths, they must be very good at physics and art, and all of which I believed I was not good at. I also believed that architects were traditionally white upper-class male professionals that gained an education at university and studied for many, many, many years to achieve this. And once they were qualified, they could then design a house or a building. Whether this was due to the advice I received during high school, or it was the idea portrayed by media, I believed that I didn't meet this stereotype. And therefore, it wasn't a pathway for me. So I decided the diploma was more achievable, and in the end, I could just work for an architect. Since studying, though, I have learned how wrong I was. Through my studies, I was exposed to the diversity of architects in the world. So such architects as Tadao Ando, Zaha Hadid, and more locally, Bernard Curry, Samaya Dabar, and David Ajay. Because of that experience and taking what I've learned through my studies, I'm now using it as a platform to go into high schools and re-educate students and to show them the diversity, particularly in the context where I am, where we are multinational. We have every country represented in the UAE. And to expose students at that age that you can be an architect is something that I'm trying to push for. Not only showing the diversity, but letting them know that sometimes not all architects are good at sketching. Not all architects are good at maths and physics. And in my 25 years, let me tell you, I have met quite a few architects who are terrible at maths and physics. The biggest norm to break for students is that not all architects design houses or buildings. Some paint, some design furniture, some run offices, some work on sites. And the one that really sparks their attention is that some architects model cityscapes for video games. So there's a New Zealand architect who models all the cityscape for Grand Theft Auto. Now, for kids at that age, they're fascinated by that. So far, the response has been positive, and I've even had a few teachers considering changing their career. Anyway, back to my journey. I started working in my first architect's office in about '99 as a junior draftsman. I was using AutoCAD Release 11 at the time, so you can sort of understand how far back that was. We were accessing the internet through dial-up. I hope people know what that is as well. And it was only on one computer. Printing was on tracing paper, and then we would make copies on an ammonia printer, which I'm sure was really not healthy. My role and responsibility at the time was to document working drawings for new houses and residential alterations. And I had a small introduction to snagging or punch lists or defects, I guess, on a hotel extension during our site supervision. I spent about 2 years with this firm, and then due to the economy, I was let go. But I had 2 years of experience now, and I had a bag full of new skills. My next practice is, I guess, where I really started to find my feet in the industry, and this was about late 2001. The director was at the time on the board of the NZIA, so that's the New Zealand Institute of Architects. He was a well-known architect in the region. They were extremely busy with community and institutional projects specifically, and thank goodness he was technologically progressive. I do note, and if anyone remembers, the first IBM computer, it was called the Model 51 or 5110. I think it was 28 bits processor, had a DOS operating system, and it utilized floppy disks. Well, this behemoth of a computer was on display in the practice office. The director was one of the only architects in New Zealand at the time when these personal pieces came out back in the early 80s. But it was only used for word processing, and I think at the time it was for producing specifications. Let's just say I was glad that he embraced technology, and because that thing was more of a paperweight than a computer. But his embrace for new technology allowed me to move into a new area within my profession, I guess. Within that practice also, I started off as a draftsman, but I was very much now into the architectural software that was in the industry at the time. So I was looking into 3D modeling packages, so 3ds Max, ArchiCAD, Atlantis. I also looking at Architectural Desktop 3.3, and then that led me to discovering Revit, and I think it was Revit 8 at the time. So again, I'm showing my age, but I guess it was a natural progression for draftees at that time to become CAD managers, and the title change from draftsman was really to CAD technician or CAD manager. Revit was becoming very popular in New Zealand at the time, and particularly for design authoring, visualization, and model exploration. And because of my interest in Revit, and my role then extended to implementing Revit and updating CAD standards to include Revit. So apart from moving into the role of CAD manager, I also moved into the role of senior architectural technician. And with that role came the responsibility now of running a team of graduates or junior architects and other technicians, mainly responsible for documenting the architect's design from concept into working drawings, going through the obvious stages of developed design and detailed design. And it was through this firm that I started to really work on large scale projects and sort of moving out of the residential and domestic side of things. I guess this particular project was my introduction to large-scale projects in late 2002. The project entailed providing an extension to the existing stadium that was built in 1980. And I worked alongside the director and just 2 other technicians, from concept all the way through to detailed design and construction. We documented everything. We did landscaping, we did car parking, we did the interior design, we did joinery, we did everything. The only specialists involved were structural engineers and building services engineers. From that experience, I understood that the architect pretty much did everything except structure and building services. I didn't know that there were such things as landscape architects or interior designers, traffic engineers, urban planners, or facade engineers. I mean, now the list of specialists just goes on and on. Following on from the Arena project in 2004, I was involved in the refurbishment and extension of the Southern Cross Hospital in Palmerston North from 2004 to 2005. And the design entailed providing 3 new operating theatres with dirty and clean rooms running along the front of the theatres, and providing X-ray rooms and associated medical facilities. New patient rooms were added, and the rooms of an extension wing were upgraded. Again, the practice had full scope of design and supervision. And then that was where my role extended to project liaison with client and builder, and also starting some site supervision as a site inspector. I guess of particular note, and one that I believe started my trajectory of my journey, was being part of the team of the design and construction of the Horowhenua District Council, which is located in Levin in New Zealand. It's a small rural town. And I guess it was on this project that I started to learn about what a narrative is. I learned about context and the importance of research and understanding and really dissecting the client's design brief. Something that through my diploma, which was very more technical based, that we hadn't covered, I guess. The practice was selected as a winner of a national competition, and we were to provide a design that unifies 3 aspects of the community's requirements. 1, the local council chambers and offices needed to be located within this building. 2, the community information centre. And 3, it was to be the civil defence headquarters during emergencies. Not only did we have to ensure we met these requirements, but there were quite a few contextual challenges that needed resolving as well. So first of all, the site was 4 metres below the road level, so we had to really think about how to build this up to have street level access. Secondly, the site was located between the state highway and on one side, and on the back side was a railway line. So we not only had to think about accessibility and traffic safety, but we also had to consider the acoustics. This particular project saw me through to about mid-2007, having been involved in all the design stages as well as the construction and handover. So I guess in all cases, you would have thought that I had a really good job. And I did. And it was just a job. But by age 30, I was running projects and teams of architects and technicians. I was climbing up the ladder, so to speak. I had company car, company phone. I pretty much had a career marked out for me if I just stayed. But there was something that always niggling in the back of my head and causing me to be a little bit restless. I felt that there was a limit to where I could go in the industry with my qualifications, if I was completely honest. I don't know if it's because we're Kiwis and we're Aussies that it's kind of like a rite of passage that we do an overseas experience, our big OE. And I asked myself, is that the next thing? Do I need to go overseas to sort of settle that niggle, I guess? So my wife was interviewed at the time in June 2007 for an education advising role in the Middle East. And I thought, flip, that's it. Let's do it. That must be what we need to do. So I encouraged her to take it. I said, what's the worst that could happen? It was only for 1 year. So New Zealand to the UAE. We took a chance, we took a risk, and 6 weeks from the phone call that my wife received saying that she got a job, we moved to a city called Al Ain in the United Arab Emirates. We took our 2 small children who were 4 years and 4 months old at the time and boarded a plane, and we were off. Not knowing much about the city of Al Ain or even the country for that matter, we were quite intrigued as to what we would be arriving to. Obviously, you know, we performed the obligatory Google search, type in Al Ain, type in the United Arab Emirates, and you know, we tried to glean as much information as we could to understand where we were going. Just to give a little bit of context, I guess, and for those of you that are interested, the United Arab Emirates is obviously a Middle Eastern country. It's bordered by Saudi Arabia and Oman and sits in what we call the Arabian Gulf. The capital city is Abu Dhabi, despite everyone knowing more about Dubai. And I guess Dubai is marketed more. The population of the country is about 9.9 million. And it's made up of 7 emirates, or you could say tribal regions. So there's Abu Dhabi, which is also a city. There's Dubai, which is also a city, and Sharjah, which is also a city. Then we have Ajman, Ras Al Khaimah, Al Quwain, and on the west coast we have another region called Fujairah. And although each emirate is governed by a sheikh or a ruler, when the country was united, I guess, in 1971, it is run by an elected monarchy. So His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan is the president and ruler of the country. It's interesting to note that out of the 9.9 million residents, there are only approximately 1.5 million local Emiratis. So the majority of the population is made up of expats. And majority of that, I guess we say East Asian, so people from Pakistan and India, majority. The official language is Arabic. although English is spoken everywhere, in the shops, universities, government departments, everybody speaks English. The official religion is Islam, but it is one of the most tolerant countries in the Middle East. We've just opened up, which is called the Abrahamic Center, and it is three, I guess, structures right next to each other. One is a mosque, one is a temple, and one is a church, and they obviously all face the correct direction of, the mosque faces Mecca, and I think the temple faces Jerusalem or something like that. So very tolerant. They are the sixth largest oil producers in the world, with 70% of the oil coming from the region of Abu Dhabi. And although it has been built a lot on oil, the country is now turning to other economic sources by promoting business opportunities and tourism. They've now created free zones for international businesses to start up offices. Housing is now offered to outside investors, and retiring in the UAE is now becoming accepted. Previously, once you hit 65 within your company, you were then sort of asked to move back to your home country. Anyway, from all that information that we gleaned, we obviously took a massive step. This is what we thought we would be arriving to. We thought the place would be covered in sand, there'd be camels everywhere, Bedouin everywhere, little shacks, and to our surprise, we arrived to this. The country was really progressive. It had major infrastructure in place. It was surprisingly a lot greener than what we thought. The city of Al Ain is an oasis city, so it's covered in palm trees all over the place, and underwater canals, and it's actually a lot greener. And then this is what it's like now. This is on the left is Sheikh Zayed Road in the middle of Dubai. Bearing in mind that this country is only 50 years old. It's growing so quick. The image on the right hand side is showing the Burj Khalifa and the intersection, which is, it's just a spaghetti of roads. I drive past this, I drive down Sheikh Zayed Road every day, and I drive past the Burj Khalifa every day. As I say, we were only staying for 1 year. So I had arranged with my practice back in New Zealand to do contract work, helping out on projects which required detailed design drawings. This arrangement was the beginning of a 24-hour office, as we'd like to think. Because of the time difference between the UAE and New Zealand, I think it's about 9 hours. I would work throughout the day in the UAE and then send the documents to New Zealand, and while I was sleeping, the New Zealand office would work on the drawings and then send them back for the next day. And considering we were only intending on staying for 1 year, this seemed like the perfect working solution. However, it did not go according to plan, but not in a bad way. My wife ended up signing a contract with her company for 3 years. So we thought, okay, 3 years, we can do that. And although that was appealing, there were challenges. First of all, we'd moved to a very male-dominated culture. The man goes to work, the woman stays home, looks after the children, prepares the meals, etc., like kind of 1950s mentality. And they didn't really understand what a stay-at-home dad was. So although I was working, I was at home looking after the kids while my wife was at work. And so it was a bit of juggling between work and looking after the kids. But an opportunity that I do not regret, spending that time with my kids. To make things a little harder, qualifications in the UAE are more valued than experience. And as I did not have a degree, many practices were unwilling to hire me. A lot of cheaper, I guess, sources with degrees could be hired. And they didn't understand the value of experience. However, if anyone has experienced the expat life, you'd understand how tight the expat community is and how word of mouth is very, very strong. The head of architecture at a local practice was an expat from New Zealand. And had been discussing, as we do in the pub, that he was looking for someone. So he was looking for a CAD manager. And of course, as it happens, I was a CAD manager looking for a job. So one thing led to another, and I was employed. So in 2010, after 3 years, we were supposed to go back, but my wife extended her contract for another 3 years, and I started working for a multidiscipline company. Now, this company had established itself in 1980, so it was a large company. It had a good footprint in the UAE. It had 3 offices, one in Al Ain, where I was situated, one in the capital, which was Abu Dhabi, and they had another office in Dubai. And so the Dubai office was the building services arm, or as I learned, the MEP department. The Abu Dhabi office was architecture and structure, and the Al Ain office consisted of architecture and landscaping. So we pretty much covered a lot of different disciplines within one company, which was favorable to a lot of clients. Because of my experience with CAD and BIM, my initial role was to perform an assessment of the company's software and hardware, and then provide an updated set of CAD standards, and then look at implementing Revit into all the offices. Now, that is not an easy task for a company of 150 people in multiple disciplines, and they come from multiple countries. However, after 1 year of doing intense assessment, putting together proposals and recommendations, I managed to get the company to make a significant change and to go onto the Revit platform. They actually had, I think, in one office, they had something like 20 copies of Revit 11, I think it was, just sitting in the storage room. They bought it, but no one knew how to use it, and no one knew how to implement a program comprehensively. So it just sat there. With that success, though, of implementing the Revit platform, the focus was then to teach the team about BIM and to try and explain the difference between 3D modeling and building information modeling, again, was a challenge. You've got multinational staff where English is not their first language, and to explain that Revit is not BIM, but as a tool to aid us in the BIM process. Wow, I mean, that just went over their heads, to be honest. However, we persevered. So for the next 6 years, I guess I was involved in multiple projects, ranging from maritime, working on dry stack facilities for super yachts, to refurbishments and extensions to the LA Museum, interior fit outs for universities, cultural centres, company headquarters, telecommunication business centres and retail stores, hotels, food and beverage facilities, community centres, mastering, the list goes on, and landscaping as well. And within that, obviously the company took the role as architect or project manager, architect of record, which coming to this country, I didn't know what was, but it's basically an authority liaison to ensure that we get the approvals from the authorities. And personally, I was involved in different roles, from BIM manager, senior technician, what else? Design manager. And then in 2016, the company was acquired by a PLC. So that's a publicly listed company from London. They were an architectural firm, but they were run by accountants. So I'll say no more. With the acquisition came sweeping changes. And if anyone's been through a corporate takeover, there are some good changes, but there are some not so good changes. The first, I guess, was an identity change, rebranding, introducing itself within the market, trying to keep existing clients, establishing new clients. It was, in my opinion, it was very, very messy. However, through that acquisition, I was given the opportunity to become the regional director of the company.
Jeremy, 5 minutes, please. 5 minutes so we can, yes, also save some time for question and answer. Thank you.
Okay. Let me just skip straight down to a couple of the projects then. I really wanted to get to, let me just say, this one here. So this is where I'd like to make a quick plug. SONA. While studying, I was encouraged to join SONA, and this is where I reckon we benefit as students studying. It's a support system. It gives us tools that we can use, and we belong to an organisation that we can reach out to. And it was through SONA that I guess my journey really took a big jump. I attended a presentation that was advertised with the Institute of Architects at the Australian Pavilion in Dubai, and it was basically Australian architects presenting projects that they've worked on within the region. It was here that I attended as a SONA member, and I met my current employer, which is he was an Australian architect as well, a graduate of Deakin University, and that's where I 3 months after meeting him, I became an associate within the company. So quickly, over the last 12 months, I've had my hand in approximately 10 different projects, whether lead designer, design manager. I've had regional conferences, international experience in different countries just through being with this company. The next couple of slides, I just want to quickly go through a project or two projects. This particular one was my first project I was given. As soon as I walked in the office, I was given this project. It was we need a new facade. It was located on on a main road in Dubai, and the client had not done anything for over 10 years. It was empty. It was built in the 1980s. So over the period of time, we went through, I guess I took my skills from university and applied them and presented to them, I guess, the process of identifying possible uses for their building, to going through key design considerations, again, using the skills that I learned from university into diagramming, and just giving them a proposal in terms of what they can utilize it for, offices, hotels, etc. And then finally, we finished just recently. We've just got a building permit, and the contractor will be moving into construction in the next couple of months. Of particular note, I think, is the Nobu restaurant. Now, I did not know what the Nobu restaurant was, and my kids actually told me that the Nobu restaurant was actually quite a well-known restaurant around the world. It was located in Dubai, and it's on a well-known man-made island called the Atlantis de Palm, and it was located in the Royal Suite in the hotel. The actual concept, I guess, was to take an existing hotel room, which was it basically had 3 bedrooms, a bit large entertainment area, had its own kitchen, and convert it into a restaurant for 450 seats with outdoor terrace, whiskey lounge, cigar, and a massive commercial kitchen. I guess the challenges that we faced were, now structurally, it was not designed to take 600 people at a time. Secondly, the hotel was in operation through the entire process, so we had to be conscious of that. And thirdly, the opening date was fixed. We had Beyonce, Kendall Jenner, and the chef Nobu coming to attend the event, so pressure was on. The last one I just quickly threw up as well is, as soon as I finished the project, I was given this next project. It's 480 villas and 480 apartment units, community centres and landscaping, and etc. etc. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that by showcasing these 3 projects, is that projects in this area vary from week to week, and the pace is 0 to 100 in 4 seconds. The work is hard, it's demanding, and at times it's frustrating, but it's never boring, and the experience gained is invaluable and far outweigh the pitfalls. I guess, in summary, I just wanted to be able to share my personal journey and encourage those, and by doing so, achieve my 3 goals that I highlighted. Encourage students that are beginning their journey. Secondly, encourage those that are about to finish, that take risks. You now have a toolbox of professional skills, utilize them. And thirdly, for those of you already practicing or looking outside of Australia, why not consider the UAE or even Saudi Arabia? Both are amazing places to learn and make your mark. Is Dubai my end goal? Is it my retirement plan? No. Do I love everything about the architecture in Dubai or the Middle East? And the more I study, the answer is no. However, it's a great opportunity, and I'm still learning. I'm still enjoying the process. The process has been hard, but I believe that architecture is what I should be doing. I guess thank you for attending. Maybe it was a little bit long, but I hope that you have found it informative and inspiring.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeremy. Great. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. Does anyone have any question? for Jeremy? You can either type or turn on your mic if you have any questions. I might start myself. Thank you, Jeremy, for sharing all those projects and the journey with us. My question, you actually partially answered my question in your very last few sentences, that what are the main 3 lessons learned for you as an internationally practiced architect? And you touched on that. But if you want to kind of summarize, what are the main differences between the 2 contexts? Like very briefly, what is it that is practiced too differently between New Zealand and UAE?
I guess the thing for me is the pace. And I've got colleagues who, not only in New Zealand, but in Australia, and the care, the time that you have to come up with a well-considered design in New Zealand and in Australia, I think you have that luxury. Here we do not. The pace is extremely fast. One example, we had to come up with a concept for a tall tower. It was a luxury residential tower that was 35 stories. We had 6 weeks from concept to delivering the sales and marketing material, 6 weeks. I guess that's the major difference.
Wow, 6 weeks is not long. And I guess, how about different architectural practices in terms of, construction materials and so on? I suppose when you practice in a different context, you also need to sharpen your skills and kind of updating according to the context. And that would take some time.
Yeah, I guess originally the country was colonized by the British, so we have a very strong influence there. So a lot of the architectural jargon comes from the British side, and we even have REBA is quite strong in the region. However, we have a lot of influence from America in terms of materials, construction methods. So those 2 were very foreign to me. I think they're very foreign to Australia and New Zealand. So I really had to learn, as I say in my presentation, I did not know what MEP was when I first arrived. And I had to quickly learn, okay, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Okay, I understand. We call that building services. So, yeah, you have to learn a lot, and it's very mixed. One project you'll be working British system, another project you'll be working the American system. So, but I think it's a plus.
Exactly. Yeah, it's worth being exposed to different terminologies, as well as, I guess, the variety of projects I've seen from you. It's just it's amazing. That is fantastic. Does anyone have any other questions for Jeremy, or we can wrap up? Do you have any other? No question, but that was great. Thanks, Jeremy. From Steve. Thank you, Steve. Would you like to have a few last sentences, Jeremy?
Few last sentences?
Yeah, would you like to just maybe wrap up, and we might, because it is 12:58, we might, Yep.
I guess, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate being able to share my journey. I guess I'm excited about this journey. It's not finished, and as As I mentioned, I'm starting my master's now. I think we never stop learning, and this is a great profession, and I truly believe that this is what I should be doing. So I'm looking forward to continuing on.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, much appreciated for your time, and we're looking forward to see you, of course, on campus or online through OUA, but also looking forward to see your other projects in future. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.